If you're an agency and you're paying for 5 different Teams collaboration platforms where you could be using one that does it all, this video is for you. If you're tired of having to jump between each and different tools, and if you want one single tool that ties up everything for you and connects your communication and your Teams collaboration, there is one tool that does that in 2025. And this tool is called ClickUp. Now, as disclaimer, my name's Ramzi, if you don't know me already, and I'm a ClickUp verified consultant. I wouldn't have done this video in 2024 because I didn't really believe ClickUp had the full scope and the full maturity to be ready to be the one-stop shop for your team's collaboration and communication. But in 2025, it is the case. ClickUp has really become an amazing tool, whether your team's working physically together or remotely. And in this video, I'm going to show you the 5 features that make ClickUp an amazing tool for collaboration. Now, feature number 4 is going to be a game changer because it's going to make you ditch your emails and your chat tools like Slack or Microsoft Teams. And in the end of this video, I'm going to give you an extra bonus methodology that's going to help you leverage ClickUp in terms of collaboration, but also in terms of project tracking. And you're going to understand how all these features are tied together and really make this a great project software. Now let's get started with feature number 1, and that feature is ClickUp Clips. ClickUp Clips is a screen recording feature that's built into ClickUp. Now, if you know about software that do that, there's Loom, there's all kinds of different software that let you basically press the record button, record your screen, explain something that you're doing, or show a problem that you're having. Now, you don't have to pay subscriptions for these tools because not only ClickUp lets you record your screen, but it also created a hub where you can see all your recordings and it transcribes them so that you can copy and paste that transcription and send it to someone that has to work on it or create an SOP out of it. And it's really become a competitor, a lightweight version of Loom. So if you really need some basic screen recording feature that's built into your project software, ClickUp Clips is there for you because it lets you have recordings and leave them in ClickUp comments so that that person can solve the bug you're having or understand the steps to go through to achieve something. Now that brings me to the second ClickUp feature that's amazing, ClickUp Comments. ClickUp Comments has been there for a while. It's a feature that's only been improved, but it's a basic project management feature tool. It basically lets you leave a comment on each task, and those comments can be threaded so that if you have a topic that you're working on, that person can reply, and you can reply back, and so on and so forth. Now, what's great about ClickUp Comments is that you can leave video recordings, audio recordings, but also assign and mention people. Now, my clients often ask me, when should we assign people and when should we mention them? And the difference is really into how actionable your comment is. If it's just an information and you're actually the one handling the task and you want someone to know that you've progressed or you need some extra info to be able to move forward, then I'd advise you to just mention someone. If that person is an input for your progress and they have to take action on this task, then you can use comment assignments. And to do so, instead of just clicking @ on your keyboard, which will just let you mention the person, you will go in the bottom of the comment section and there's a little silhouette you're going to click on. And from there, you're going to be able to pick the person from the assignees and then assign them the comment. What will happen is that it will be a mini task into the task that the person has to complete for the task to be considered closed. Because if you close the task and the comment is still open, ClickUp will warn you and will let us know that the person hasn't completed that assignment, that commented assignment. To summarize, mentions if it's more for an FYI, and assigned comments if it's more you have to do this thing. Now, all those comments you leave to someone will appear in the person's ClickUp inbox. And that brings me to the next amazing collaboration feature in ClickUp, the inbox. Now, you can think of the ClickUp inbox a little bit like your email inbox, where you will just receive a bunch of messages, except this time it'll be contextualized into a task, and that's the big game changer. Because if you receive a thread of emails and you don't really understand what it's about, who's the client, what's a deadline. You have to let your brain do the gymnastics of remembering the context. Whereas if it's contextualized in the ClickUp inbox, you will know exactly who's the client, who's assigned, what's the deadline, what's the status of that task, and therefore it's much easier for you to be able to go through a pile of messages in your ClickUp inbox because the brain switch is much easier. Your brain has less work to do because ClickUp acts as your single source of information. Now, there's a few things you can do in your ClickUp inbox. You can clear that message from your inbox if you're done with it. You can reply to the message, and that will just add up to the comment section of that task. And you can also stop watching that task from the little bell icon. And you can also delay the message. You can snooze it if, say, you receive it on a Friday night and you want to deal with it on Monday. So the ClickUp inbox is an amazing central system for you to handle your communication with other members of your team. And I guess you started to understand how these three first features are tied together, because you can record your screen, leave that recording in the comment, and then the other person can just access their inbox and handle it from there. They don't have to go into the actual task. So if you start to understand how communication and collaboration works in ClickUp, that's really going to be a game changer, and you're going to stop with your emails, I can guarantee you. Now, there's a fourth feature that came in very recently, and this one is definitely a big step up and a big addition to ClickUp for a while, because end of 2024, ClickUp has released a new feature called ClickUp Chat. And ClickUp Chat is basically a replacement to all the team chat tools you might know about, whether it's Slack, Microsoft Teams, Discord, Zoom. All of these tools would let you chat with your team members and call them through video calls or audio calls. Now you can do that straight into ClickUp. And that's a big step up because it basically integrates the already existing ClickUp task management features with a chat tool. So you can basically have a channel for a list, if it's a client, for example, and all your communication is both in the list's tasks, but also in the list channel in the ClickUp chat. So that way you can really have a one-stop place to be able to communicate about that topic. And you also don't have to worry about access, because the access you give to the ClickUp list is going to be the same as the channel for the chat. So each and every one that works for that client, for example, will be brought into the chat and you can communicate with them. You can also mention a task, create a new task from the chat, and you can basically make use of the already existing ClickUp features in this communication bubble, in this communication system. Now that brings me to an interesting topic though, because one of my missions as a ClickUp consultant is to stop teams from using chats for collaborating. And I've explained why, because the ClickUp inbox and using an inbox where we have threaded comments is much more powerful for brain switching than chats or emails, because these threads of messages will pile up in your chat inbox and you don't really understand the context they're all about. If someone sends you a chat about a topic, about a client, about something to handle, don't really remember what it was about and the box it was in. Whether if it's in a task, it's much more organized and the brain switch is much easier, as I've explained. So I recommend you to use ClickUp Chat more for general communication purposes, when it's about announcements, internal communication, or just general communication with your client, or if it's something very urgent and you need to mention the person there and they'll collab on the chat. However, you should still stick with the ClickUp inbox when it comes to day-to-day task management communication. I don't think ClickUp Chat would replace the ClickUp inbox. I think it's an extra nice addition that lets you stop your Microsoft Teams or Slack subscription if you're ready for it, and just bring everything into ClickUp. Now I'm going to wrap things up with a fifth feature I find amazing into ClickUp, and that is dashboards. And all the first four features we've talked about are more about collaborations. When it comes to tracking your project progress, dashboards are amazing because they let you have a single view of your team's project progress for the week, for example. As a manager, you could create a new dashboard and bring in every single task at the everything level And from there, you could group your tasks by assignee and put on a filter on the tasks that have to be done this week, for example. And you could also track things like knowing how tasks are evened out across members, or the cycle time, which is basically how the average time between a task starts and a task ends is moving. You could also know who's behind in terms of notifications, who's not opening up their inbox, and making sure that everyone follows better practices on ClickUp. So a well-built dashboard can be a single stop as a manager to track your team's progress. And even as a user, having a dashboard with your personal tasks filtered out can make it much easier to know what you actually have to work on this week. Now, dashboards are a little bit more of an advanced feature, and that's why I recommend you to get the services of an expert consultant to help you set up a proper dashboard, because they know about all the available cards, they know which data they need to pull from ClickUp to be able to create nice dashboards. So if you're interested into that, you can book a discovery call with us at Upsys, and we'll understand which dashboards you need, how to build them up, or really anything you would need to set up on ClickUp. With that said, and to thank you for staying till the end of this video, I'm gonna explain you not really a feature, but a method you can set up in ClickUp to make your communication and collaboration even more powerful. And I find this methodology especially handy when it comes to remote teams, so that you can have a clear view on who's doing what, when, and how long it takes. Now, I've used a lot of words in a single sentence, but I'm basically referring to the task estimates, the start dates, and the due dates. And let's be real, people never feel start, due dates, and estimates. And that's why I've called a method called the batch method that basically lets you semi-automate this. You will not need to fill start and due dates and estimates if you use this methodology. Now, this leverages two ClickUp features, custom fields and automations. And if we start with custom fields, we're basically creating a custom field to know the batch of work where we're gonna do this. So it's gonna be now, which means this week, next, which means next week, later, which basically means in the next month, roughly, and someday, which means in the next quarter, and the last one is maybe, which will be within the next year. So by being able to slot down your task into these batches, you'll have a clear view on the start date and due date of each task, because through ClickUp automations, we'll be able to set up the start and due dates of each of those tasks. And now the second custom field that's super interesting is the points custom field. If you fill up this points custom field with values like 1, 2, and 3 points, and select 1, 2, and 3, we can automatically set up the time estimate to 3, 6, or 9 hours with a ClickUp automation. What that means is that by just picking 2 custom fields on each task, you'll have a start date, a due date, and a time estimate. And that's much less clicks and brain work. You can easily know what's to do this week, by whom, and how long it takes by having a dashboard filtered on the now batch and just grouping your tasks by assignees and having the points in the column and knowing exactly who does what this week. Now, what I love about this method as well is that it puts the first layer to a solid capacity planning in ClickUp, because capacity planning in ClickUp requires start dates, due dates, assignees, and estimates. And with those fields being filled almost automatically for you, you will be able to use the workload view and know exactly if someone is overboard and you need to give them less tasks, or if someone still has some slack time, you can assign them an extra task. Now, obviously, you have to set up and make use of the batch method for a few months first, and then use capacity planning and the workload view later, because it requires you to fill up those fields and to make sure your data is clean first. Now, if you need help with a batch method and you want to set up a proper, solid capacity planning in ClickUp, you can book a call with us and we can help you through a discovery call understand if your team and your business is ready for the batch method and if we can set it up for you. And if you're not ready for a discovery call yet, you can go through all our services down in the description below. We offer a course called ClickUp Master, but also single coaching sessions to unlock a specific point on ClickUp, like how to set up a certain dashboard or how to make use of the ClickUp inbox or something like that. Now, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're now clear on what you can do in terms of collaboration with ClickUp. And maybe I even saved you a few bucks every month, because now that you know that, you're gonna get rid of your Loom or your Slack subscription and use ClickUp as your single point for team collaboration. I'll see you next time. Until then, stay productive.